Alright guys, Fuller coming to you with another video. Shout out to the whole LGBC. So in this video, man, I kind of want to tap into something I read earlier today. You know, this was posted on my friend's Facebook, you know. So, you know, I love reading things like this. It was in Espanol, and, you know, I'm not about to, like, go through the article in Espanol, although I can, you know, if I chose to, but I'm just gonna keep it like a little bit simple, basically. But in this article, man, it talks about Venezuela and Nigeria, man, and this is really a good look. You know, what's happening is now, you know, Venezuela is going to get assistance from Nigeria for agricultural production, you know, and I really like to see these bilateral ties, you know, go on. I like to see this, you know what I mean? Because of the simple fact that, you know, us Africans and the Latin brothers and sisters, you know, man, like, I believe that alliance is better than ones with Europeans, because let's be honest with, let's really look at history, what history shows. History shows us that, you know, alliances with former colonizers and with former imperialists are not going to really be conducive to what the masses of people need in Africa and Latin America, because we went through the same shit, you know, we went through basically the same things. And so what I'm saying is that, you know, now it's a good look if, you know, we take our resources that we have and just put them together and work together, man, because at the end of the day, like, you know, that's what we need to do. You know, we need to work together. And, you know, in that article, it said that, you know, Nigeria, like Venezuela, has some similarities as far as climate and as far as soil and among other things. So that's why they were looking for this cooperation, you know, and this is what I like to see, you know, and, you know, we need to get more bilateral things going, you know, because it's mutually beneficial. Because what's going to happen now is that chances are you're going to see a lot more Nigerian students who are going to go to Venezuela to get proper education in certain affairs, you know, that maybe Nigeria is limited on, you know, and so we need more of this. We need this kind of like cohesiveness with each other. And again, we all are in the same jar together. I'm just being real. European countries have never been our friends. In Latin America and in Africa, they've only been there to usurp us. You know, just like take, put in that. That's all they've been there for. You know, you would think that by now that we would be that any country in Africa, be it like let's just say let's say Ghana, for example, would be developed. We shouldn't be calling countries in Africa third world still, but hey, it's because of, you know, us being complacent and letting Europeans do what they want, that they're still third world, man. And so with that being said, like, you know, we gotta snap out of it, man. And so we need to do more of these things, man. And I'm very happy to read things like that, you know. I'm really happy to read it, because At the end of the day, man, we can learn so much from the revolutionary process of Venezuela as Africans. We can learn so much from it. You know, what we got to learn is that, you know, what one thing about like the revolutionary process is, you know, we got to stand on our own too, you know, and just like realize that we all we got, you know, and that just because, you know, the former colonial masters may not agree with things that we do, doesn't mean that we don't do them, that we carry out and do them anyway. You know, at the end of the day, leaders are going to have to answer in the grave on what they did with their leadership, with their roles and positions. And, you know, I know I'm kind of going theological with it, but if they did not, you know, meet the demands of being a just leader, they're going to be met in a bad way. You know, it's not going to be a good ending for them, you know, and that's just what it is, you know. And so they got to realize that, you know, they got to realize that they got to take heed to that, you know. I was reading something earlier, and this hit to me, this hit me kind of hard, you know. They said the best form of government, it was in a book. They said the best form of government is that one that ensures happiness to all its people. And that's real, man. So I'm not into politics. I'll say it before I'll say it again. I'm not into politics. I would never want to get into politics. I would just want to be a nigga who helps on the ground build his country up, who helps on the ground build his continent up. You know, at the end of the day, I have to like come to the understanding that, like, yeah, sure, it's cool to invest in the United States, but ultimately investing back home is going to be where it's at. You know what I mean? You know, it's not going to be like investing here in the United States, you know, because back home, when you invest in back home, you're building your infrastructure. You dig? And so that's what I'm after. That's what I'm trying to do at the end of the day. You know, but don't get it twisted. You know, I'm trying to, like, you know, there's certain areas, and I want to say South Central and stuff like that. I look and see in those areas, like, oh wow, like there's some like things available there that would be ideal spots for different things. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, we gotta get past this this savior complex, man, for real. And I think the thing is with Venezuela, like, you know, I've said it before, I said it again. Like Venezuela, there's a lot of people who have African descent, you know, or have African in their bloodline, you know. And so what it is that, you know, unfortunately, the legacy of racism in Venezuela is that such that, you know, this history has been masked a lot, you know. And now, because of the work of Hugo Sanchez, you know, because of his work and bringing people to that realization, it's now becoming more and more prevalent that, you know, that the African bloodline is indeed in the Venezuelan people, you know. And so I think, like, with that being said, you know, we'll be better to link up with each other, you know. That's why I think that's the way we gotta go, you know. That's the way forward for both continents, you know. Because let's be honest, let's look at the track record of South America and their cooperation with, like, say, United States and European countries, and let's see what that's produced. When you go to places like Chile, Peru, Argentina, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Honduras, and stuff like that, you're going to see the track record of what happened when they're allied with United States and other European powers. And that track record don't look so good, man. I'm just going to be real with you. You know, I'm sorry to say it, but like a lot of Latin America is banana republics, man. Because they thought, like, you know, getting spoon-fed by, you know, World Bank loans and aid from the United States was going to make the situation better for them. But unfortunately it didn't, man. And that's just it. You know, that's just the way I look at that situation. So with that being said, you know, I want to say that same thing in Africa. If you look at Africa, what do you see? Same track record, you know. Low infrastructure, crappy roads, crappy sports, ministers of sports not really producing what we need to produce in the sports world. It's funny because I was actually talking to a sister from Guinea-Bissau. We were talking about this the other day, and she said one of the guys, one of the higher uppers in Guinea-Bissau, he bought a Lamborghini. The roads were so crappy that he could not drive his Lamborghini in the roads. So what happened was that shit basically got parked, and he couldn't move it because it was in the crappy road. So I think he just had to let that car go, basically. So basically he let $200,000 go down the drain. You know, so it is what it is, man. But that's just my thoughts on the whole situation, you know. You know, I'm an advocate for us to link up, you know, especially like the Cubans and us. You know, we have a history. We can build a history with the Venezuelans, you know. We can also build a history with the Brazilians because things are jacked up there too. You know, we got to build history together, you know. We got to establish more bilateral ties. And so on a private level, I'm working on doing that right now. I don't want to talk too much, but, you know, we're in the process of, and I'm just going to speak it because, you know, your words are power. But basically, I'm in the process of, with a partner of mine, basically having an African clothing in Cuba, you know, and just basically having like a store down there, you know. So that's what we're trying to do. You know, in the private sector, we even got to build bilateral ties. I'm also in the process of, like, there's a brother in Venezuela, he's interested in some African books, like on African leaders and stuff like that, because a lot of African leaders had kind of like the same process as Hugo Chavez had. And so what's going to happen is I'm actually going to send him some books, you know, in Espanol, so he can tap into that. But yeah, man, that's all I got, man. Leave your thoughts and leave your comments. Let me know what you think, you know, about this news, you know what I mean? And are you for more cooperation and cohesiveness? And you know, how do you feel about it? And I just want to add one more thing too. You got to also look at the fact that, you know, there's been some like intermarriage with us. You know, I had a homegirl, you know, I actually had a homegirl who was like 3 homegirls. They were all sisters basically. And, you know, they basically were Nigerian mixed with Venezuelan, you know. Then I have a homeboy, he was Cameroonian and Venezuelan. So there's been like some intermingling between the two. So we can continue it on, man. You know, not just on marriage terms, but, you know, on other terms too, man. And so that's just basically how I look at it, you know what I mean? But anyhow, man, let me go. I just had to make a video about this because I'm very happy that this is happening. You know what I mean? And I hope this is just a sign of things to come. You know, we got to do it ourselves. It ain't going to happen from taking handouts. You know, handouts, there was no such. You know, if we're going to have it, it was on us. Or I should say, I'm going to quote the whole bar. Basically, if we was going to have it, it was on us. Handouts, there was no such. This 10 toes down and some old chucks. But in our situation, some old sandals, basically, if you African. But that's all I got, man. Fula signing out. Njada.